What if the deepest healing your body does all day happens after you close your eyes? And what if a single warm cup, sipped an hour before bed, could double it? Our grandparents knew this. They did not have sleeping pills lining the medicine cabinet. They had a kettle, a garden, and 20 quiet remedies that put whole generations to sleep and repaired them while they dreamed. Tonight, I am going to walk you through every one of them, what the old folks used them for, and what modern research actually says. Because some of these are sitting in your pantry right now, and you have been walking past them for years. Stay with me until the end, because the last few are the ones almost nobody remembers anymore. And number 20 is a plant the Old English called the mother of all herbs. One more thing before we begin. Everything on this list was chosen because it has both a long folk tradition and at least some modern research behind it. I am not going to promise you miracles, because the old folks never did either. What they promised was simpler and truer, that the right cup at the right hour makes the night kinder. Let us start with the most famous one of all. Number 1, chamomile, the queen of bedtime teas, and for good reason. Grandmothers on both sides of the Atlantic brewed these little golden flowers for restless children and worried adults alike. Chamomile contains a compound called apigenin that binds to the same calming receptors in the brain that many sleep aids target, only gently, the way nature tends to do things. Studies on older adults have found chamomile can modestly improve sleep quality and ease mild anxiety. 1 cup, steeped covered for 5 minutes so the oils do not escape with the steam, about an hour before bed. And here is a detail most people miss. The old folks always saved the flowers from their own gardens, dried on a screen in the attic, because chamomile loses its potency fast once ground and bagged. If your store-bought tea tastes like nothing, that is why. Buy whole dried flowers if you can find them, and you will taste the difference the very first night. Number 2, valerian root. This one smells like old socks, and the old-timers joked about it, but they drank it anyway because it worked. Valerian was the sleep remedy of choice across Europe for centuries, and research suggests it may help people fall asleep a little faster and rest a little deeper, especially when taken consistently for a few weeks rather than one desperate night. It is earthy and strong, so most folks blend it with something sweeter. The Romans wrote about valerian 2,000 years ago, and during the Second World War, English families under the bombing raids drank it to steady their nerves through the sirens. That is a testimonial no laboratory can match. Give it 2 to 3 weeks of nightly use before you judge it, because valerian is a slow and patient healer, not a knockout drop. Number 3, lemon balm, a cousin of mint that country gardens overflowed with. The old herbals called it the gladdening herb because it settled a racing mind. Modern trials pairing lemon balm with valerian have shown real improvements in restlessness. It tastes bright and lemony, and it is one of the easiest herbs in the world to grow yourself. Plant one seedling by the kitchen door in spring, and by August you will have more than you can dry. The medieval Carmelite monks made a famous lemon balm water they swore preserved youth. And while that may be stretching things, the calm it brings before bed is real enough. Number 4, passion flower. Settlers in the American South learned this vine from native peoples, who used it for nervous tension long before anyone bottled it. Small clinical studies have found a cup of passion flower tea before bed can improve how well people rate their own sleep. The flavor is mild and grassy, gentle enough to drink every night. The Cherokee crushed the leaves for poultices and steeped them for the elderly whose minds ran circles at night. If your problem is not falling asleep but the thoughts that will not quiet down, passion flower is the one the old healers would hand you first. Number 5, lavender. Most people only smell lavender, but our great-grandmothers drank it too. A few buds steeped in hot water make a floral tea that research links to calmer nerves and better rest, particularly in older adults and new mothers. Go easy, a half teaspoon of buds is plenty, or it turns soapy. Number 6, peppermint. Not a sedative, but the old folks reached for it when a heavy supper was the thing keeping them awake. Peppermint relaxes the muscles of the digestive tract, easing the bloating and discomfort that ruin more nights of sleep than most people realize. If your problem is your stomach and not your mind, this is your cup. The old rule on the homestead was simple: mint after meals, chamomile after dark. Grow it in a pot, never in the ground, because peppermint will take over a garden faster than gossip takes over a small town. Number 7, ginger. Grated fresh into hot water. Ginger was the farm remedy for nausea, sluggish digestion, and cold winter aches. Research supports it for easing nausea and calming inflammation. A thin slice or two is enough at night, because too much can be warming and stimulating. Number 8. Tart cherry. Here is one the old orchard families understood by instinct. Tart cherries are one of the few natural food sources of melatonin, the very hormone your body uses to time sleep. Studies have found tart cherry juice can add real minutes of sleep in older adults with insomnia. Steep dried tart cherries in hot water, or warm the juice gently with a cinnamon stick. In one study of adults over 50 with insomnia, tart cherry added more than an hour of sleep a night for some participants. An hour. From a fruit. Our orchard-keeping ancestors ate them stewed in the evening all winter long and never needed a study to tell them why they slept so well. Number 9. Rooibos. South African families have given this red bush tea to babies and grandparents alike for generations. It is naturally free of caffeine, rich in antioxidants, and gentle on the stomach. If you love the ritual of black tea but the caffeine keeps you staring at the ceiling, rooibos is the answer the old world already found. Number 10. Linden flower. In European villages, the linden tree in the square was the town pharmacy. Its honey-scented blossoms were brewed for fevers, tension, and sleeplessness. Herbalists have used it for centuries as a nervine, a plant that soothes an overworked nervous system, and it makes one of the most pleasant-tasting teas on this whole list. In France, it is called tilleul, and to this day French grandmothers serve it to overtired children and overworked husbands alike. The blossoms are picked in early summer when the whole tree hums with bees, then dried in the shade. If you have a linden growing near you, you are standing next to a free pharmacy. Number 11. Catnip. Yes, the same plant that drives cats wild has the opposite effect on people. Appalachian grandmothers brewed weak catnip tea for fussy babies and for their own frayed nerves. It is a mild relaxant from the mint family, gentle, safe, and nearly forgotten. Number 12. Hops. Long before hops meant beer, they meant sleep. Farm wives stuffed pillows with hops flowers for the elderly, and a bitter cup of hops tea was standard for insomnia. Modern research often studies hops paired with valerian, and together they have shown genuine improvements in sleep quality. Blend it with something sweet, because alone it is bracingly bitter. Number 13. Skullcap. An old American remedy with an unfortunate name and a gentle nature. 19th century doctors prescribed skullcap for nervous exhaustion, and today's herbalists still reach for it when the mind will not stop churning. Early research suggests it can ease anxious feelings within about an hour. The eclectic physicians of the 1800s, the doctors who bridged folk medicine and early science, considered skullcap indispensable for what they called the tired and wired patient. If that phrase describes you at 11 at night, exhausted in body but racing in mind, take note. Number 14. Holy basil, also called tulsi. In India, this plant grows by the doorstep of nearly every traditional home, and a cup of tulsi tea in the evening is as ordinary as saying goodnight. Studies suggest it helps the body regulate its stress response over time. It tastes of clove and pepper and something sweet underneath. Number 15. Ashwagandha. The old Ayurvedic texts called it the strength of the stallion, but its evening gift is calm. Research has found ashwagandha can lower cortisol, the stress hormone that keeps modern people wired at midnight. It is traditionally simmered in warm milk with a little honey, which is a bedtime ritual all by itself. In one well-designed trial, adults taking ashwagandha for 2 months reported falling asleep faster, waking less, and feeling more refreshed come morning. The root has a horse-like smell raw, which is where the name comes from, but simmered in milk with honey and a pinch of cinnamon, it becomes something close to dessert. Number 16. Magnolia bark. Chinese grandmothers have brewed magnolia bark for over 1,000 years for restlessness and low mood. Compounds in the bark appear to work on the brain's calming pathways, and small studies suggest it may ease the kind of tension that arrives at bedtime uninvited. Number 17. Oat straw. When the oat harvest came in, thrifty homesteaders saved the green stems and tops. Oat straw tea was the tonic for people worn thin, the nervous, the grieving, the exhausted. It is mineral-rich, mild as milk, and you can drink it by the mugful without a second thought. Number 18. Rose hip. After the first frost, grandmothers sent children out to gather the bright red hips off the wild roses. Rosehip tea is loaded with vitamin C and antioxidants, and while it will not sedate you, it quietly supports the overnight repair work your immune system does. During the war years, when oranges could not reach Britain, the government sent children out to harvest rose hips by the ton, because a cup of rosehip tea carried more vitamin C than the citrus they were missing. Tart, fruity, and beautiful in the cup. Number 19. Cinnamon and honey. The simplest recipe on this list. A cinnamon stick steeped in hot water with a spoon of raw honey stirred in once it cools slightly. Cinnamon helps steady blood sugar overnight, and a little honey before bed was the old remedy for waking at 3 in the morning, giving the brain the gentle fuel it needs to stay asleep. And number 20, the one almost everyone has forgotten, mugwort. The Old English called it the mother of herbs, and folk tradition across Europe and Asia held that a weak cup of mugwort tea brought deep sleep and vivid dreams. It is bitter and strong, meant to be brewed light and drunk occasionally, a Sunday night tea rather than an every night one. Folk tradition held that a sprig under the pillow guarded the sleeper, and weary Roman soldiers were said to line their sandals with the leaves on long marches. Whatever you make of the old stories, the plant earned its place in 1,000 years of bedtime folklore. Ask an herbalist before trying it, and avoid it entirely during pregnancy. Now, before you put the kettle on, a few words of honest caution, because the old folks were careful, and we should be too. Herbs are gentle, but they are not nothing. Valerian, hops, and skullcap can add to the effect of sedative medications. Ashwagandha and holy basil can interact with thyroid and blood pressure medicines. If you take prescription medication of any kind, or if you are pregnant or nursing, talk with your doctor or pharmacist before making any of these teas a nightly habit. None of this is medical advice, and no tea replaces treatment for a real sleep disorder. What these cups offer is support, ritual, and the gentle nudge that helps a healthy body do what it already knows how to do. And if you are caring for an aging parent or grandparent, this is where these teas truly shine. So many of our elders lie awake at night, and so many of the pills offered for it leave them foggy and unsteady come morning. A warm cup of chamomile or linden, brought to them in the evening, is more than a remedy. It is company. It is 10 minutes of sitting together at the end of the day. Ask them which teas their own mother used to make. You may be surprised what they remember, and you may find the conversation is worth more than the cup. My own grandmother kept a tin of dried linden blossoms on the second shelf, and the sound of that tin opening meant the day was over and all was well. Half of what these teas heal is not in the leaves at all. It is in being handed something warm by someone who loves you. Do not underestimate that medicine, because no laboratory has ever managed to bottle it, because that is the real secret hiding in all 20 of these teas. Our grandparents did not just drink them for the compounds inside. They drank them as a signal, a nightly ceremony that told the body the work of the day was done. The kettle whistling, the cup warming 2 hands, the quiet few minutes before the lamp went out. Science is only now confirming what they never doubted, that sleep is when the body heals, and that the path into it can be paved with something as humble as flowers and hot water. So tonight, pick just one. Brew it slow. Sit with it. Let the oldest medicine there is, rest, do its work. And if this stirred something in you, some memory of a grandmother's kitchen or a cup you had forgotten, share it in the comments below. I read every one. Subscribe and ring the bell, because next time I am opening the root cellar door on the vegetables our ancestors swore kept their hearts strong through the longest winters. Sleep well, friend. The old ways are still here, waiting, one cup at a time.